I hope you're all having a lovely day. So last week I was playing around with a couple of inspiration pictures I found on Pinterest and came up with this image here, what I am currently building right now, and I posted it on Twitter saying how I really liked it, but I had no idea what to do with it. I had a couple of ideas, but nothing that I was particularly set on, and it can be used for so many different things. I was like, oh, I don't know what to do first, so I thought I would share it and see if anybody had any suggestions. And I had quite a few really good ones. A castle, a bell tower, a clock tower, that sort of thing. And Tanya suggested I do a medieval church, which I thought, I haven't done anything like that at all, I don't think, at least not something that I've shared. I did a bell tower recently and I've done quite a few castles, but a church is not something I've ever really done. I don't think I've ever done a wedding venue at all, to be honest. So, or at least I don't think I have. So I thought I would give this one a go, and I can maybe turn it into a clock tower or something on a castle at a later date. I thought that would be really cool as well. So I have turned it into a bell tower, as you have already seen me do. And yeah, this one actually turned out to be a lot bigger than I originally was intending. So it's pretty simple on the inside. There isn't really that much going on. Like I said, it's medieval inspired or fantasy medieval inspired, since I'm not entirely sure whether this sort of look would be correct for the time period, or whether they'd have some of these things like the huge bell tower. I don't know actually whether they'd even have something like that in those times. So it's more of a fantasy inspired medieval church. So I do really like the way that it turned out. But like I said, it's a lot bigger than I was originally intending, but I wanted to get all of like the details in, especially on this like roof section here. I don't know what they're called, but I wanted to get all like the details on the roof area right, and it took me a little bit to try and figure out how I wanted to do it, but I'm really pleased with how it turned out in the end. It's quite simple, you'll see when we get to it, but yeah. There isn't really a lot going on inside. I've just put a wedding arch and a couple of the benches that we got with Get Together. I thought they were the most appropriate for the style, especially. I'd really like the ones that came with my wedding stories, but I like the detail on the Get Together ones. And other than that, I've got 2 bathrooms, or like 2 toilet rooms downstairs, and then upstairs there's like a small changing area and a room with a bathtub in it, because I didn't really know what else to put in there, and it wasn't really the right size for me to make it into another like toilet area or like a full bathroom. But I thought just a bath would probably be more appropriate. There wouldn't be too much decoration in this kind of time period, because most of decorations are made with things, and you know, they didn't really have a lot of the materials and things that we have discovered now. Like quite a lot of things obviously are made of plastic, and they didn't really have anything like that. Most things were made of wood or metal and other natural things, or more natural things. So you know, it would make sense for them not to have a lot of decoration and detail in things. So I didn't want to put too much in, but at the same time I didn't want it to look completely empty. So I've tried to put a little bit more of a, you know, like I said, fantasy kind of element to it, so that I could add a lot more without it being, you know, completely inappropriate. So hopefully that makes sense, and hopefully you like it. I wanted to add these windows in. Like I said, I don't really think that they actually work time period wise, but I haven't used them yet. I really wanted to use them, so I put them in. And with the rest of the like detail-y bits on the inside, it's mostly just build decoration, like these arches. I really love these from Get Famous, and I use them all the time. So I had to use them in this one. And yeah, I tried to just make it look, I don't know, ornate, I guess, without having too many different individual small items. I did try and put another one of these arches over like the entryway to this area, but it just didn't work. It made it look very closed in, and I wanted it to be very open and airy, which is why I deleted the walls on this part here. So even though there are door arches and these big archways, there aren't actually any walls because I wanted all of the light to come through the windows. And it took me ages. It took me ages to try and figure out, and I feel really stupid now. But I kept on seeing all of these screenshots of people's builds in their gameplay and in their build videos and everything, and I kept seeing like all of the light shining through the window and how it was creating these really lovely images and like reflections and things, and I was like, I don't understand how they managed to do that, because I mean, I'm not very good at photo editing, but I was like, some of these people have said they haven't edited the pictures, and I'm like, how are you doing this? How do you get the window, like the light to reflect through the window? And I realized it was because I didn't have my lighting setting turned all the way up. I had it on like medium, I think, so it wasn't, the lighting wasn't very high at all, and like nothing was showing through the window. And I was getting so frustrated. But with this one, I'm finally turned my lighting setting up, and I've got those really lovely shadows and reflections and things coming through the window, so hopefully I'll be able to capture some of them in the screenshots if I can get the lighting right on this lot, because I'm not very good at getting the right lot for the lighting, if that makes sense. So I'll just go, oh, I want to build on this lot, and then I'll just have to suffer through the bad lighting that the lot has. So hopefully I'll get lucky with this one, because I haven't had a look at it yet. But anyway, we've added quite a lot of the structural detail to the outside of the building now. So up on this area here, I wasn't really sure what I wanted, and I knew that I wanted more detail, but I didn't really know what to like put up here, especially on the roofing section. So I put these all the way down, and I think I put them on the top first, but I didn't like the way that it was covering over the windows. So we end up going back up there and trying to figure it out a little bit later once I've put all these down, and I change the angle of them so that they like line the edge of the roofing, if that makes sense. And I really like the way that it looks. It's not something that I'd ever really considered doing before. So you can kind of see how it just covers over the bottom of the window just a little bit. I mean, it doesn't matter because like nobody's going to be up there, but I didn't like the way that it covered it up. It just looks a little bit strange, so I changed the angle and rotated it with the tool mod, which I really need to try and do a build without the tool mod one day, but I just can't bring myself to do it. And I think I've gotten so used to building with it now that it's almost second nature to me, and that's not good, because you know, obviously if for whatever reason the mod was no longer available or didn't work, then I'm worried that I won't be able to do anything build wise, so I really need to try not to rely on it quite as much, but hopefully I will be able to do that. But yeah, I was looking through the cottage living live edit menu and found a couple of these different bits and pieces. I think it's like a grave that I put on the roof that I really liked, and the little church like gate. I think it's I don't actually know, it's not a church gate, but it looks like a church gate to me, and I thought that was a really nice little detail. I've used these wall pieces to kind of close in the area, but I wanted it to also be quite open, because lately I've not really been enjoying the what word is that? Harsh edges of the lot. So I want to try, I can't speak today. I wanted to try and make it so that it blends in a little bit better by not having quite so harsh edges. Obviously when you are using fencing and things, it's going to have quite a harsh edge to it, so I didn't want to go right up to the edge of the grid. I wanted it to be a little bit back so that I could put some landscaping and things around it, and I really like the way that it's turned out. kind of reminds me of a little sort of country chapel, I guess, but obviously the actual church area is huge, so just ignore that and just look at like the outside. That's what reminds me of, like a little country chapel. So I don't know, it just felt quite cozy and English to me for some reason, probably because I've seen several of these before. But yeah, I haven't built this in Hemphill and Bagley, even though it probably would go okay there, but because I used quite a lot of like the wallpapers and things from Get Together, it seemed fitting and appropriate to build it in Windenburg. The same with, you know, it being medieval inspired. I thought Windenburg's probably the most appropriate place for it to be. But yeah, I haven't included anything else for a wedding party, so like food or a bar or anything. I haven't included things like that because it didn't really, to me, it didn't really fit. And whenever I play with weddings in my game, I tend to micromanage the hell out of it. And I like them to go to one place and get married and then go back to somebody's house or to a different venue for like the reception or like the after party bit with like the dinner and the dancing and things, just because I don't know, it doesn't really seem very realistic to me. Of the weddings that I've been to myself, unless you get married in like a proper venue like a hotel, most of the time, you know, if you got married in a church, you wouldn't have the reception in the church, you would go to a secondary location. So that's the kind of idea that I had with it, in that you would then take your sim somewhere else. So I wanted it to be very simple and not really too flashy. You know, like I said, time period appropriate and things like that. I thought you'd come here, you'd get married, and then you would go somewhere else. So that's, you know, I quite like that idea anyway. So we're working on some of the landscaping. I didn't do a lot. I did add quite a lot, but I didn't add too many different flowers and things. I think I just had lavender and maybe some like low-lying plants just for the flowers, because I was looking at the world around this lot and there aren't really that many flowers. It's mostly greenery and grass and trees, and I think there's like a little orchard behind this lot. I'm not sure what kind of fruit it is, but I thought that was really nice to have like some harvestables that you can go and get, which I don't, honestly, whenever I've played in Windenburg, I don't play over this side. I usually play on the island, so I've not really seen what's like around the lots on this part of the world. I know it's been out for like years at this point, but I tend to stick with specific lots that I play on, and if I play a legacy, then I tend to just have, you know, one lot that I play on, and I don't really go very many places. I'll take them to community lots obviously, but other residential lots I don't really go to, and if I do visit them, I don't really visit like the world around the lot. I'll just go to visit the Sims and then go home again. So, you know, there's still so many things that I haven't really explored with the game, so it's, you know, one of those things that when I do find it, even though it's years later, it's still something to get excited about, which I really enjoy, because there's just honestly so much with this game that it's easy to miss quite a lot of things. So I don't do a lot in terms of terrain paint either. I just put a little bit of a dirt shadow underneath a lot of it, and then in like the main like yard area, like the churchyard area, I put a little bit of like a pathway just to connect all of the entries up, and then I think I put some grass down, like some, I said like muddy grass or like that sort of thing. I just wanted to give it a little bit of a different texture than this bright green, because it just looks a little bit unnatural to me, but you know, that's just me. Maybe it's my reshade, it just looks a little bit bright, but yeah, I wanted just to tone it down a little bit, blend it in a little bit more, and I really like the way that it looks actually when it's all finished. I really do enjoy the look of it. And then once I've done this, then we go inside. Yes, this is the grass that I'm using. I don't really know what it's called. It's like patchy grass. Is that what it's called? Patchy grass. And I really like the different colors that it's got in it. So and mushrooms, obviously. It's not really one of my builds if I don't put mushrooms in it, so I put these everywhere, and it just added that little bit of fantasy element that I was missing. That I really wanted to add. I mean, I'd probably add, you know, more fantasy things if I could, if we had them. I wanted to make the roofing on this really tall. I'd seen a couple of pictures where the like the tower roofing was really high, and I was like, oh, I don't know how to make the roofing higher than I can. And originally in the picture that I shared, I'd actually put the roofing over 2 different levels because I wanted it to be, you know, that extra height, but I just couldn't do it, especially when you're limited to the 4 floors that we currently are, or have been for the last 7 years. But yeah, I didn't really know how to go about it, so I thought I would try is it Build Pro? It's an Arnie mod that lets you have unlimited roof height, and it says on the Patreon page that it's like CC free, so when you go to upload it, it won't be tagged as CC, but when I downloaded it, maybe I did something wrong, but it was. So I was really sad. So it's just normal roof height, which for me is a little bit short, but you know, no one's going to be looking at the roof when they're playing in it, so I thought it doesn't matter too much. So we're already most of the way through the interior. This I thought would be really nice as like a little font area, but we didn't really have anything that I thought looked right, so I just put a bird bath in it. And I like the way that it is anyway. It's just like a little fountain. It's a nice little, you know, piece of detail. So yeah, this is the room up here that I thought I would put another bathroom in, or like another toilet in, and I just couldn't get, I didn't want to remove the windows, and I couldn't get the sink to fit on any of the walls where it wasn't up against the window, so I thought a bath would be, you know, okay. And yeah, it's in like the dressing room area, so I've put a sofa and I think a wardrobe, and yeah, this little dressing table area thing. I don't know what it's called. Is it a dressing table? Like a vanity, which I thought if your Sims wanted to come and get ready, then they can get changed here. If you don't use MC Command Center, they can get changed here. They can put maybe some makeup on or whatever, and just, you know, get refreshed up here before they go downstairs and get married. So yeah, like I said, there isn't really too much detail, but that is pretty much it from me. So I hope you enjoy the screenshots. It's on the gallery if you would like to download it. Trade files will be on Tumblr. But yeah, I hope you enjoyed it, and I will see you next time. Bye everyone.
You're the night sky, trying to make me see your stars. But the dark gets lonely. Now I see violet, I can feel silence. And the dark's all that I see. When your stars have burnt out and your heart makes no sound, I'll find violet in your eyes. You'll always be my night sky.